Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm joined by Mole, who is going to take part in my Final Fantasy VII quiz. So, how are you doing? Thank you for joining. Would you like to give yourself a brief introduction?
Of course. Hi, I'm Mol, also known as Adramalek from Evilis. I'm not doing too bad. I'm very excited to be here doing this quiz today. I'm a little apprehensive, hoping, very, very much hoping that my studying has paid off.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will have paid off. And like the thing is, I've prepared these questions. Obviously, any quiz person will tell you that they don't. It's not a bad thing. They don't want the person to get them all right, or maybe they do. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So there's yeah. So I'll just go through the rules for the challenge because it's a Final Fantasy VII quiz. It's about the Final Fantasy VII universe. So it's not just Final Fantasy VII. It's the Final Fantasy VII compilation, everything involved
Oh
with it,
boy.
but mostly to do with Final Fantasy VII. So let's move across to the next slide. Right. So this is the way the scoring works. So all these questions, like I said, are about Final Fantasy VII universe. Um, Again, mostly based on the Final Fantasy VII initial game, but like some of the characters I've got on screen are from different versions of the game because they look better. Yeah, so that kind of thing. But it's mostly Final Fantasy VII. So these are the score rankings. So basically, we've got it's possible 40 points.
Wonderful.
So 0 to 10, I've got you as a soldier trainee. 11 to 20 would be an avalanche recruit, which is, I think, slightly better. 21 to 30 would be a battle square veteran. You can
Hmm.
tell how nerdy I am with this. And then 31 to 40 would be the planet savior because I couldn't think of anything like limit breaker or something like that. That would be a good one. So yes, let's yeah. Rules are pretty simple. I'm going to ask you the questions. I won't take your first answer, so you can feel free to sort of just
Phew.
yeah. It'll be like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, if you remember that, where it's like final answer, that kind of stuff. Um,
Wonderful. Are these guys my ask an audience?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good shout, actually. Yeah, we should have that. We should have an option as the audience. But, you feel free to do the sooty thing with them if you want. I won't mind. Like, what's going on? What do you think, Gareth? Right. But so I think we should move on to the first round, which is the
Right,
character round.
characters.
So again, there's no time limit on this. I mean, if we're stuck on something for like an hour, I'll probably be like hurrying you along a little bit, but I don't think we're going to be.
Of
So
course.
I'm just going to make sure I've got my paper here. So first one, who's that?
Hardest one. Why do you
Yeah,
open with the hardest one?
I know. I did.
Cloud Strife, of
Yes,
course.
that is Cloud Strife.
I do also want to know if this gets me additional points. That looks like his Dissidia artwork by Nomura.
I think you're right. I probably won't give you additional points because I've worked out it's out of 40, but that gives you bragging rights, I think.
Excellent. I do love a good brag.
Good brag. Yeah, of course, he's the lead character in Final Fantasy VII Universe. Yeah, don't think he needs any further explanation. I think everyone in the
I
world
think
knows.
even if you haven't played FF7, you know who this is at
Everyone
this
knows
point.
who this person is. Yeah, everyone knows who this person is. Right, who's that?
Ooh, right. This is Professor Hojo, without a first name or a last name. If anybody knows what Hojo's first or last name is, please tell me. I would love to know.
Professor, isn't it? Like,
That's a good shout, actually.
yeah,
PH, yeah, I
yeah,
like that.
PH. It is. I've just got him in as Hojo. So yeah, he is the mastermind behind Soldier and the Genova project. And he's kind of like the puppet master of the series, isn't he? Really? I think he's
Yeah,
like
the more you get into things, the more you realize just how many pies his fingers are in. It's a little worrying after a while. You think it ends and then it just keeps on going.
it was Hojo the whole time. That's pretty much the gist of it. Okay. You've got that one. I didn't expect you to get that one, to be honest with you. Next, who's this? Sexy looking
This
man.
is the head honcho himself. This would be President Rufus Shinra or Vice President, depending on whereabouts you meet him.
Very clever. But, yes, I suppose in the remake you see him beforehand, don't you? I'm trying to
Hmm.
remember. You've probably played Final Fantasy VII more than me, but yeah, when you first see him, he is
Still
in the
technically
original
vice
game.
president. Oh, in the original, he's still vice president until the very moment he steps out of his helicopter. I
Of
think by the time you meet him
course.
in remake, he's already claimed that title for himself.
All I'll say is that's one sexy coat that I want
It
more than.
it I I I like the coat, but I can't help but wonder why the belt's only halfway around it. The black belt.
That's just edgy. Like it's not like he's not quite Squall Leonhardt levels of I'm wearing two belts, but half a belt. Maybe he's just trying to be edgy. I don't know. Yes, that is Rufus Shimra, and of course, yeah, I would have accepted Rufus or not Shimra Junior. Maybe that would have been a good thing. Right, next we have. Here we go. I wonder who that is.
This is Tifa Lockhart on a background
Yes.
of Tifa Lockhart.
Yeah, very good. Yes, it is Tifa and Tifa, two Tifas. Yes, Tifa is Cloud's childhood friend from Nibelheim. She's my personal favorite character in the series, the Final Fantasy VII series. I think she's brilliant. She's just a good. I like the fighters. I like the no nonsense.
Ah, you're a monk kind of guy.
Monk kind of.
Good taste.
So, yep, Tifa. I've not even put Lockhart in. So, yes, you've got that. Unsurprisingly, these do get harder, by the way. So
okay.
I'm just easing you in gently. Next is someone very famous.
Ooh, okay. I have plenty of friends who've claimed this guy as their favorite over the years. This would be Vincent Valentine.
Vincent Valentine. Yeah, I don't know if I put his surname in. I think I have. No, just put Vincent.
Rocking his dirge look as well.
It's the dirge look, yeah. And we've mentioned that. We've mentioned Dirge of Cerberus. Oh, goodness gracious me. I played through that recently for my sins. So yeah, Vincent Valentine is a former Turk and an optional character in the original game for reasons that we could probably go into at another point, I'm sure. And he's also got his own spin-off game, Dirge of Cerberus. Now, before we move on, have you played Dirge of Cerberus?
I I own it. The last time that I tried playing it, I could not figure out how to get past the title screen, which is not wonderfully gamer of me. I will admit. It's on the to playlist. I definitely want to get around to it at some point, at least to be able to write a proper review for my NeoCities. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not. I've heard a lot about it over the years. Not all of it good.
Tangentially, I've recently done a bit of a video on Dirge of Cerberus. I played through the whole thing. My one bit of advice: make sure you upgrade your weapons.
Okay, noted.
It doesn't let you know to do it really well.
Wonderful.
And it's
wonderful.
kind of, you feel like it's optional, and then you get to a point where it's not optional. So, but it is. You can do it without doing it, but like if you are hardcore, and it's yeah, we go into
not for the first run at the very least.
No, make sure you upgrade your weapons.
Right.
That is literally that will save you hours of your life.
Wonderful. That's wonderful to know. Actually,
I could link you to my video actually afterwards, and if you want to see the reasons why, because you'll feel my pain, I'm sure. So yes, that is Vincent Valentine. Sexy name. What a sexy man. Right. Who's this? A little bit more obscure.
Right. So this is which name do you want is my question to you. This would be Cisne from actually this render looks like it's from Crisis Core Reunion, originally appearing in Crisis Core, originally named Shuriken Female, and her role in Before Crisis.
Right, okay, that's interesting because I've got down that she was in Before Crisis, but I didn't know she had a different name because I've not played Before Crisis because I've not got.
Not many people have
2006 Japanese mobile phone.
Exactly. No, every player Turk in Before Crisis does technically have a name. It is the name of their weapon. Obviously, as a Shuriken wielder, her name is Shuriken. I think there are one or two characters which have the same weapons, and they go by martial arts male, martial arts female. Interesting bit of Before Crisis lore for you as well. I have found out recently, I will have to dig out the Twitter handle myself at a later point, but there is someone out there who in the archival section of things actually found a still working Docomo mobile phone with the Before Crisis what's the word, demo on it. So hopefully that will one day be playable for us.
No, I'm a proper demo nerd, so that would be something I would love to play. But yeah, no, that is Cisne, as I would pronounce it. So yeah, well done for that, and thank you for the extra trivia there.
Of course.
So I'm expecting you to get these next, I think. So here we are. Terrible low res image.
Wow, I feel like I'm back in 2004. Right, this would be left to right appearance, Yazoo, Loz, and Kadaj, Sephiroth's remnants from the 2004 film Advent Children.
Absolutely, you're spot on. And the thing is, right, I'm going to admit something now. I've never seen Advent Children. And I could not find a still with just one of the individual characters in each. So I put them all together. And I'm really glad that you've let me know which one's which.
Of course.
Because I've just literally done this with the three names, and now you've pointed to which one's which.
I would highly recommend watching Advent Children with company, especially company that has prior knowledge of FF7. I recently rewatched the complete collection with a couple of friends. One person who had seen it before, like me, one person who had only just gone through FF7 for the first time and did not know anything prior, and one person who had no idea of anything whatsoever. I believe the words "I don't know what's going on" were said at least 3 times during that movie.
Yeah, but that's just standard Final Fantasy. That's part of it. I don't know what's going on. That's like, it's like a rite of passage. I mean, I only officially finished Final Fantasy VII, the original vanilla game, last year. I mean, I knew most of what happened and stuff like that. But I think now I feel, for want of a better term, qualified to watch the Advent Children. I have seen the fight scene in the church because, again, I talked about really liking fight stuff. That's fantastic because the choreography is absolutely brilliant. I think maybe I was put off because of the spirits within. The least said about the
better. See, this is where I actually say I quite liked the spirits within. I rewatched it a few years ago, and I think it holds up, which it might be fantastic. The only person to ever say that in the history of Final Fantasy.
It does look fantastic. I will give you that. But I just couldn't get on with the.
I will say, if you want to experience Advent Children, the proper 2004 way, you should do as my best friend did, and watch clips of it set to Linkin Park AMVs, and then get into FF that way. Apparently, that was their introduction to the entire series.
Or you could go and buy the UMD and PSP, which was what was pushing as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, I'd forgotten about UMDs. Yeah, oh, you've brought me back to a dark place.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then make sure you put your flip phone on to watch it as well, because they like their flip phones in the standard universe stuff or the compilation stuff.
I'm really glad they got rid of that in remake. I was expecting flip phones.
They kept him in the Crisis Core reunion though. He had his flip phone.
Oh, they did, didn't they?
Yeah. Good times. Right, brilliant. You got all them. Here we go. Here's another one. Here's a slightly more obscure one. You might not know. It might be the first one I've got you with. Maybe.
All right. So this is another Dirge character, and she has a sister, and I always get their names mixed up. I have to go against my gut instinct with this one. This is Shelka Rui.
Oh, it is Shelk. Yes. So I mean that's I know her as Shelk.
I could very well be saying it wrong.
Maybe I'll go with that. But yeah, but that you got all the syllables there. So that's it. That's Shelk.
The only thing that I know about Shelke is that she uploads herself to the internet, I believe, which aspirational in many ways.
Yes, Shelke is one of the Sviets from Dirge of Cerberus. She's probably the best character in the game. She's probably the best part of the game, in my opinion. I would say. We just mentioned it there about her uploading herself to the internet. She's kind of like I'm terrible with like the names of things. But ironically making a quiz about naming people. But like the sort of early 2000s, late 90s sort of female human weapon type character.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be called.
Very Ghost in the Shell of her.
Yeah, in essence, and there's also like Outlaw Star and things like that, where the girl would plug themselves into the computer to run it, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Kind of has those vibes going on. So if you play the game, it's very 2006. So you will feel like you've been transported back in time if you do play it. Yes, that is well done. You got Shell. And here we go. Here's another character.
Oh God. Okay, we have to go by colors for this one. That's the only way I remember these guys. This is Nero the Sable.
It is Nero the Sable. Well done. Well done. Nero the Sable. Nero the Sable, who first appears in the game, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but Kate Sith or Katshi or whatever you want to call Kate Sith meets him in some strangely scary place, and then goes, oh no, Nero the Sable. So that you literally introduced to Nero by his full title. I don't know what a sable is personally.
I think it's only something to do with the color scheme. I believe sable is some darker
dark blue
thing.
Nero the blue.
Now
like Gandalf the Grey.
Yes. Now I have to ask you: do you remember the very, very end of Crisis Core?
Yes.
Because Nero and his brother make an appearance at the very end of Crisis Core.
I might not have watched the full 100% ending, because I remember Crisis Core there being this spoiler alert, but no one was watching this that doesn't know. The big long death but you're fighting against all the army people scene, and then there's like
heart-rending. Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. And then like I think maybe there's like is it a post-credit scene?
I believe it is a post-credit scene, and I think I could. No, I'm thinking of Dirge of Cerberus. I was going to say it was the live action gagged or live action.
Yes, no, he's in Dirge
of
Cerberus. Yeah, G or whatever the character is
Oh
appears
my
at the end
God.
of Dirge of Cerberus, which I didn't see because I didn't complete it 100% or whatever the New Game Plus was, because I was like, I've had enough. This is just basically, this video is just like us slagging Dirge of Cerberus, isn't it? But yes, no. So all I've got written down for Nero the Sable is he's also one of the Sviets from Dirge of Cerberus, and that's pretty much all I've got to say about him. He feels very tagged on if you play the game, but anyway, that's for another discussion.
He's got better shoes than Schalke does.
True. That is true. Right, who's this? Sexy man.
This big bearded guy who looks awful reminiscent to a character in Final Fantasy 15, in my opinion. This would be yes, that's exactly it. This would be Reeve Tuesti. He is the director of urban development for Midgar.
That is correct. You're absolutely right. Yeah, in charge of urban development at Shinra, and is the puppeteer, want of a better term, for I'm going to say Kate Sith because it's my video. Cat she. I read it as Kate Sith. I know that's
I'm the same way, and I've got Scottish background.
There we go. So yeah, no, it's so he's the puppeteer of Kate Sith, and he also appears frequently in Dirge of Cerberus, and again is a good character.
God, he does, doesn't he? He's got a better fit here than he does in Dirge. Something happened in 2006, and it was all trench coats and belts and facial bandages and
flip phones.
And flip phones, yeah, you're right. Yeah, now, one question about Reeve for you. Do you know what his original class was going to be?
What, as in like before he was Kate Sith?
Or what his class was going to be titled is probably a better question.
How do you mean? So like, was he going to play a playable character?
So we have Tifa, who's a monk. We've got Aerith, who's a white mage. Reeve was going to have his own special character class, which was enabled him to create Catchy or Kate Sith, for lack of a better term. He was going to be called an Inspire, and that's all the information that I have ever been able to glean on that. I think it was something that was abandoned quite quickly in development when they realized that Reeve himself was going to be less permanent in the actual party list than Kate Sith himself. But yes, this man was once going to be known as an Inspire.
Well, that's interesting. So I've not played Rebirth. I played a bit of Rebirth. I've not played it fully yet, so
I haven't touched it at all. I'm waiting for the PC port, unfortunately.
I see. So that's cool. That's good. We're in a safe place then.
Wonderful.
But I do think, like, because I know more than you do, other than the first chapter, and one of the demos. I suspect that the Kate Sith stuff, because that's probably the weakest part of the original game for me, is the Kate Sith stuff and how it relates to Reeve, or how it all ties in. I suspect they're going to explain that better and make.
Here's hoping.
Because when you play Dirge of Cerberus, which we keep talking about, like when you play Dirge of Cerberus, like Reeve and Vincent seem like their best buddies, and all the characters know who Reeve are. So he's
which isn't something that you'd ever take away from the original 7, is it?
So it's almost like you'd think they know who he is and like his betrayal and all this jazz. So I hope that that's the bit I'm hoping for mainly, is that they explain.
I'll keep my fingers crossed. Actually, now that you've said that, yeah, I want to know more too.
Because even like at the end of Dirge of Cerberus, one thing I did take away from it is that I had more of an appreciation for the whole Kate Sith debacle.
Ooh.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it massively like made me think it was the best thing ever, but I thought, you know what, I know what they're trying to do here. I get it. You know, it's kind of like his alter ego kind of thing. So yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so that is definitely Reeve. You got that right. Right, here we go. Here's where it starts getting interesting.
Ooh, okay, wonderful. Now, this is the kind of stuff I was trying to study up for earlier in the week. Let me tell you, there's an awful lot of Shinra middle managers walking around, and I could not differentiate between them if you tried. I think this is Mr. Holzoff from Gaia's Cliff.
Close. First mistake. It is actually
Choco Bill. Damn.
Yes. Almost. But they do look quite, you know, what's that? What's this? You'll know probably better than me, the anime style they use for Final Fantasy VII? Like the paintbrush hands.
I don't know if there's a specific title for the style, but yeah, they do all very much lean into that late 90s aesthetic, don't they?
Yes, but that's Choco Bill. So that is unfortunately.
I'll have to go back to the farms and spend more time there.
Yes, more time there. Lots of time spent in that place. Um, who's this nice lady?
This is Shira.
It
This
is.
is Sid's friend or accomplice or insert word here, I suppose.
Do you want me to spoil Cerberus?
Oh God, don't tell me they get married. Please don't tell me they
I'm not
get
telling you
married.
anything.
Oh no.
Cannot confirm or deny.
Oh dear.
No, Shira is. I like Shira. Shira's cool. I
I
like.
always thought she was a very generous character for the situation that she finds herself in.
I like the. We could go into the depths of Final Fantasy VII, like representation and stuff like that. But I like the fact that she's like this female scientist,
Mm,
and
mm.
you've got all these like evil, horrible male scientists that are doing horrible things, whereas she's actually trying to put stuff right. I think this got a real kind of like undertone of something going on there. Personally, I don't know what you think, but it's cool.
Yeah, no, now that you've said that, it's
Yeah,
with all of this big overarching the world's going like just to hell in a handbasket in the background, and then here's this woman that just wants to work on a rocket and make it work.
yeah, no, I'm yeah. So like we could go. That's a subject I would love to touch upon in another in more detail, which I'm sure we will at some points. But that is the cool Shira. I like Shira. There we go. Yeah, who's this?
Ooh. Ooh, now I think this could be one of two people. This looks like one of the elders from Cosmo Canyon. And one of them I can remember the name of, and the other one I can't. So it's gonna be the one that I can't remember the name of. I'm gonna have to go with Elder Bouguet. Um, I
Flipping the coin didn't work too much. This is Elder Hargo, but you know what? I think it's fair that I give you half a point for that
I
because
would never have remembered Argo anyway.
because they I mean, like I'm again. I think I suspect you've played Final Fantasy VII vanilla more than I have, but
Mhm.
it's quite an like so in the game Elder Hargo, obviously you got it was in from Cosmo Canyon. He tells the party about the promised land after you see the planetary display, but only if you speak to him before you get to the campfire, so you can miss
Right.
that content, so it would be forgivable to not know. So the fact it was an elder from Cosmo Canyon, I think gives you half a point personally. But you got
Wonderful.
you got I thought I'll be clever here. You
I'll claw my way
you
back.
half fell into my trap. So
I'll claw my way back from the Choco Bill debacle sooner
right,
or later.
next, who's this?
Oh, now this is going to be Mr. Holzoff, isn't it?
You are correct.
Man, what an absolutely wonderful character for someone who only has one scene and is such a minor character. His story about his old ice climbing buddy that stuck with me over the years, and I've been playing and replaying this game for God 25 odd years at this point. And Holzoff and Yansky's story of just something gone terribly, terribly wrong, and then spending the rest of your life trying to make up for what was on an honest mistake is just it's heartwarming, really.
Yes. I mean, I'd love to delve more into the side characters of Final Fantasy VII because they are very well written a lot of
Mm.
the time. What I like about him is that you see him like for a game for a character that isn't really a big part of the story necessarily, is you probably end up seeing him a lot if you explore the Great Glacier because he wakes you up a lot. So
Yes,
you
yes.
probably like of all the NPCs in the game, he's probably the one you speak to the most. You probably play the game
He might be the
technically.
one that you rage at the most as well.
Maybe yes, maybe because that place is wow. I mean, oh, actually, I mean,
Endless.
actually, I played through the Great Glacier for a video about 3 months ago. I did like a snow levels in PS1 games video,
Mm.
and the Great Glacier, like you play through it now, and for the time, it's massive. Like it is huge. Like because you've got that like top down bit, and then you've got the all the different screens. It's like for a game from 1997, how they managed to pull that off in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if most of disc two was the Great Glacier, to be honest with you, because it's just
Yeah.
massive. But yes, and funny enough, the first place I got stuck at in the game.
That doesn't surprise me either, actually, especially if you're trying to explore everything and get everything, as it were.
Yes, and do Cool Borders Cloud version,
Oh, so many hours wasted on those clips.
which was on the back of the box of the PS1
It
PAL
was,
version.
wasn't it?
It was one of the main like marketing
I'd
points,
forgotten about that.
along
Shame
with
on me.
along with a spoiler that we got on the back of the
Yeah.
box as well. Yeah, but no, it is because I think Cool Borders. I don't know. Someone will probably know better than me, but Cool Borders 1, 2, and 3 were massive sellers in the UK and Europe. So they were, I think, jumping in on that bandwagon. Which fair enough. If that sold a few copies of the game, then I'm sure people probably put it in the PlayStation and thought, "What is this?" when they got the game in. But eventually they got there. So yeah, that is Mr. Holes Off. Who's this?
Ooh. Ooh, another remake character. And while I stall trying to remember this guy's name, I'm going to mention how fantastic a job I think Robert Ferrari did in translating all of those old original JPEG characters into
Yes.
these characters that they look exactly how they should do.
Yeah.
He's
right.
done such a fantastic job with the glow ups. Now I think this is going to be Mayor Domino or Domino.
Quite. You were close, but no cigar. This is Hart,
Vice President, Vice Mayor.
the deputy mayor of Midgar, who serves as Mayor Domino's assistant. Now, I'm terrible with names, funny enough, even though I've put this together. Is he the guy you speak to that gives you the tip and gives you the?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. He gives you is it the enemy skill material or?
I don't remember if he gives you no, he wouldn't give you enemy skill material in remake.
There's a material you can get early from him if you get all of the pictures right.
I feel like it might be an independent material. That's a purple one.
It's something that gives you a bit of a buff
or something. Yeah. But you need to you need to guess Domino's question correct on the first try, which
no
I can never
did.
do.
No one did it.
And I never had enough gil to be able to pay him for the tips at that point in the game either. So I just took the hit every time.
Might be all materia, actually. I think it's all materia.
Oh, that's a good shout, actually.
I'm sure that's something to look into. I'm sure someone will put it in the comments. That'd be nice. Yes. So next we have right. I've put a nice little arrow to who I'm pointing
at. Right. This is going to be Seto, Red 13 or Nanaki's father, who has been turned to stone.
Yep, that's literally what I've written down, other than the fact that he's one of the last of his tribe.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and I couldn't work out whether turned to stone, petrified, or frozen. Yeah, I guess
I think turned to stone and petrified are kind of used interchangeably in the OG. But yes, he was petrified or turned to stone or carved out of marble, however you want to put it, by the invading Gi tribe of Cosmo Canyon. He held them at bay by himself, and for some reason, everybody in Red 13's life lied to him about his father being a coward and running away. Communication kills. Bad communication especially kills.
It does. What a tear-jerking moment
of
the original game that is as well, with the teardrop. Wow.
The tears coming out of
my God,
hurts me every time.
What a moment! Like one of the best, in my opinion, Final Fantasy character
coupled with the musical cues.
Oh yeah, no, like Cosmo Canyon stuff. Yeah, isn't it? And a boss you can cheese just beforehand if you throw a phoenix down at it. Or an
yes.
One of those. Okay, yeah, so that is Seto. And I always think of, and this just goes to show how much of a nerd I am, I always think of Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! When I hear his name. So, because, yes, just slightly different story about a male character with crazy blonde hair. So the Japanese love that sort of thing, don't they? Okay, who's this dude?
Ooh.
It's rather jacked dude.
This is going to be Zangan, isn't it? This is Tifa's martial artist teacher.
Rashad Zangan. But
that's right.
I will give you Zangan because that's what everyone knows him as.
I did, for the first time recently, read at least Tifa's part of the Two Tales story.
Oh yeah.
And my God, the amount of first names that they suddenly gave us absolutely blew my mind. What do you mean they have real names?
Yes. What? Rashad? That's a really sexy name as well. It's proper, thought about. I mean, I think I like that design. I think it's fantastic.
It's a very good design. I do like that they've upgraded just the standard strip of red belt from the OG to an actual supportive belt as well.
Not a man I'd cross. Let's put it that way.
No.
Not one to upset
But would you
him.
want to? Look at him. He's a big
No,
teddy bear.
yeah, he's one of those guys, isn't he? Yeah. Don't be really nice to me, but don't cross me. That sort of person. Yep. Cool. And this is the final character question.
Final one. Okay. Now, earlier on, you said that Hojo was the person who instigated the Genova project, and I'm here to tell you that unfortunately you were incorrect. This man, Professor Gast Foremis, was the person who originally discovered Genova and was the father of the Genova project. Unfortunately, Hojo's legacy lives on.
Yes, well, it was one of those like things where it was like it wasn't anything to do with us; it was all him.
As a side note, I've always really loved Gast's moustache. It's so big, so much bigger than any other moustache I think I've ever seen before.
Yeah. Okay. So I won't tell you what you're on yet. I think you will find out at the end what score you're on. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's absolutely fine by me.
Cool. Brilliant. Right. So you're doing all right. You're doing good, actually. Moving on. Are you having fun? That's the important thing.
I am having fun, actually. This is wonderful.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I'm enjoying. I'm liking how you're throwing lots of trivia my way as well. I thought you might. Okay, so the next part is the enemy round.
Right.
Right. So basically, the rules here are. I get my little bit of paper out. Yeah, so next we have the Final Fantasy VII Guess the Enemy round. So here you can get a maximum of 1 point for the name, but if it's on the tip of your tongue, you don't know its name, but you know where you fight it, I'll give you half a point. You can't get a 1.5 points if you know its name and where you fight it. It's basically a case of like, well, a lot of the time people have silly names for these characters, and more often than not, you might not know if you've played through the game, you might not know what the enemy's called. You just might know where you fought it. So I think that's a fairly reasonable way of doing it. So the first one, there we go. What's this?
Of course. This is the staple classic, the bomb. Or the grenade, depending on whereabouts. I think there are grenades in 7.
I think, yeah, isn't a grenade like a slightly different color or something?
I think it might be a dark gray, yeah.
Yes, they are the bomb are a fire-based enemy that you can fight in Mount Coral.
Mount Coral, of course.
It's on the bridge, isn't it? I think, from memory.
Yes. Oh God! Now that you've said that, the amount of times I've run across that bridge and just been so underleveled because I want to get through the story rather than fighting, and I cannot defeat them at the underleveled part that I am.
Probably have an entire video just talking about where you fight this enemy in various games. I know that you can fight one in Final Fantasy IX outside Limblum when you're leveling up as Zidane on your own. I don't know if you're a Final Fantasy IX fan, but
played it. Wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan. Didn't know that they could be found just outside of Limblum. I only ever remember the one on the Prima Vista from the very beginning.
Yes, so no. Oh, we go. Final Fantasy random bit of Final Fantasy IX trivia we'll throw in. Yes, so the Prima Vista fight, the what would you call it? The sort of tutorial fight at the beginning where he's behind Steiner. The bomb's there. Later on, if you go to Limblum, when you can control Zidane or Zidane or whatever you want to call him, but Zidane on your own, you can synthesize your weapons. You can go outside and train on your own. Most enemies you can fight are relatively easy to beat, but if you go into the forest, you have a 1 in whatever chance of running into a bomb, quite similar to in Final Fantasy VIII when you've got a 1 in however many chance of fighting T-Rex. So it's kind of like one of those like, oh, I can go off on my own, I can do this game on my own, and then it throws in this this monster that will absolutely eat you to death.
Destroy you, yeah.
Pretty much.
It does seem a little risky to have bombs living in a forest, though, or is that just me?
Yes, well, it probably won't be a forest for much longer afterwards. Yeah, you're correct. That is a bomb, and you that. So next one here we go. So, do you know the name of this enemy, or where you fight it?
No, I don't know the name of it. My mind wants to call it a sawtooth, which I don't think is correct. But I believe these can be found in the Shinra building when you're going up to rescue Aerith.
They can actually, but
which always confused me as a child playing the game. Can you imagine going to work? You're just going down to the cafeteria and you come across a giant flying swordfish.
Yeah, you can get them in. You meet them in the underwater reactor as well, but they are corvettes.
Corvettes.
So funny enough, it says underwater reactor on the website, but I do remember fighting them in the Shinra building. So yes, corvettes, which is a name for like a type of ship or something, as far as I'm concerned. It's a ship name, so potentially it's a mistranslation. I don't know what it is, but yeah, swordfish or wavy, pointy thing. Who knows? But yes, it's, you know where to know the fort. So next we have this interesting character.
Okay. Again, I feel like I'm going to fall down on the names a lot during this round. Now, I think this enemy, or at the very least, multiple colors of this enemy, can be found at different Shinra-based areas around the map, particularly in reactors. I. No, I cannot pin down a single location for this one, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, this is a custom sweeper, and you can fight it in the Midgar area. You can get it in the battle square as well, but the Midgar area, it teaches you micro missile. I think it teaches you an enemy skill.
Yes, that should be one of the very first enemy skills that you actually learn, provided it doesn't wipe you out.
The main reason I knew is because you straight outside Midgar, but you can quite easily miss it because if you move with a random encounter straight off into the distance, you probably won't even encounter it at all. So, but you got the right idea because it's definitely a Shimmer-esque type thing. Not quite there. Okay, so what's this character?
This is a Deathclaw.
It's a Deathclaw. Yes, another Final Fantasy staple, I believe.
I know it turns up in 8, but I couldn't tell you if it turns up in any other of the series.
7 and 8 are the important ones. So, like, yes, it is a Deathclaw. And according to my list, it can be fought in the Coral Prison. I do remember fighting it in the Coral Prison.
I mean, if prison wasn't bad enough,
how one of those comes out of you.
This is just another incentive to stay on Shinra's good side.
Yeah, he's definitely eating first, isn't he, at prison?
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Deathclaw. Next, we have this annoying thing.
Oh God. Oh God. The amount of times that I've spent cursing these things. This is a Dorky Face, I believe, which is just such a wonderful name, isn't it?
Dorky Face. You are absolutely correct. Now, do you know where you can find them?
Yes, I think you do. Can find this in the Shinra Manor in Nibelheim.
Cool. That's absolutely right. It's a Dorky Face, and you can find it in the Shinra Manor. Yes. Well done. I mean, yeah, they are irritating, aren't they? Because you're just walking around, you just want to explore, get on with the story, and then these things pop up.
It wouldn't be so bad if they didn't cast sleep on the entire party.
Guess where else they turn up?
Oh God.
Dirge Cerberus.
I'm finding myself more and more reluctant to play Dirge.
Actually, no. I might be thinking of Crisis Core actually, because in both games you go into the Shimmer Mansion.
They do turn up in Crisis Core. That's.
I'm thinking of Crisis Core. I don't think they actually do turn up in.
Okay. Well, Dirge has redeemed itself.
Yeah. No. So that's clearly the developers thought we can't put these in. It's too bad already. Cool. We got that. Okay. What's one of these?
I mean, my first instinct upon looking at this is imagine turning around and this comes lumbering out of the undergrowth at you.
I think I just give up at that point. Just lie down and turn into a ball. Right?
Now I'm not sure I can remember the name of it, but I believe it can be found in the Gungaga area.
The grasslands area. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I'll give you that. I'm pretty sure it can be found. The grasslands are in Gongaga, aren't they?
I think there's multiple grassland.
Yeah,
no. Now that I think about it, the grasslands are just outside the Chocobo farm.
Right. Tell you what, I know that you can fight them there because they can cast Fury on you. I'll keep that as a question mark. We'll check to see if you can fight that in Gongaga because I think it's only fair. We'll see in a minute. So that's contested at the moment. We'll Google that in a minute. No Googlings yet. Elfadunk.
Elfadunk. What a wonderful name as well.
That is a really nice name. That's why, a pet elephant called Elfadunk. Next, we have...
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the amount of time spent lost to these as well. I believe this is very simply just a ghost ship.
That's correct.
Found in Junon's underwater reactor, or at least that's where I know them the most from, because you can morph them into for some reason, a desert rose. No, not a desert rose. It's a book that the Calm Traveler is looking for, and then he gives you the desert rose.
Right.
Absolute nightmare of an enemy. And ultimately, at the end of the Calm Traveler's mini quest, all you get is a gold chocobo, by which point you already have it if you're going to complete it.
Yeah, and you can also fight these at the battle square. They turn up as the last
Oh,
enemy to fight.
that would ruin my day.
Yeah,
Quite
no, they do
honestly.
turn up quite a lot. So, fun fact, I once did, and I don't know how I did it. I tried to do it again on my last playthrough. I once got Omnislash on disc 1 at the battle square.
Disc 1.
Yes, I did it. I did it a few, like 5 or 6 years ago. I think I was like ill. And I thought I'm going to spend a bit of time off work. I'm going to sit and I did it on disc 1. I got Omnislash on disc 1 just to prove you could. And yeah, and I fought a lot of these things and reset quite a lot of the time. So it's a lot easier once you get the ribbon and other.
I can imagine it would be, yeah.
It's a nightmare. Other than that, but you fight those things a lot. If you sit, basically, you see one of them, reset, or not reset, just give up, because if you reset, you lose all your points. So yes, that is a ghost ship, quite simply. I think my friend refers to them as the pirate ships. Unaffectionately, but they're definitely ghost ships. But, next, we have this contraption.
Oh, now I like that you've used the first stage image
Yes.
for this one. This would be the Hell House, which can terrifyingly be found in the walkways of Sector 6 in Midgar.
Yep, you got that. Fantastic. You got the Hell House. That's important. Yeah, you fight it with Aerith and Cloud when they're off on their journey.
Yes.
Together. I fought
And
lots of these.
I believe it's the Battle Squares hard mode fight in Remake as well.
Oh, is it
isn't
really?
I
Oh, yes, it
think
is.
so.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, you're right.
I have not yet attempted hard mode, but my best friend has, and has told me
Yeah.
about the 3 tonberries that it spits out.
I'm sure I've seen. I've not played hard mode, but I definitely remember someone telling me about it or watched someone doing it. But you're right. Yeah.
As with all of Robert Ferrari's designs, it's truly hellish when it's upscaled.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Yeah, that'll be interesting to take a look at. Yeah, we got that one. Then here's the next one. I'm sure you'll get this one.
Oh! Now I always, this was another one with a great name that I always loved as a kid. Was it Hedgehog Pie?
Hedgehog Pie. Do you know where you can find the Hedgehog Pie? Just for intro, you got the point, but it's not important.
Now it's one of 2 locations, and I'm pretty sure one of the 2 locations has the same enemy skin but with a different name. It's either in the church in the Sector 5 slums,
Yep.
or in okay, then it'll be the other one, which I won't be able to remember the name of that one, in the lead up to the Forgotten Capital towards the end of disc 1.
I suspect it's probably called something different then, because I've got it as the church, 65 slums, and Battle Square as well, which is always,
right.
Up. You got 4 of them or something ridiculous. But yeah, and if I'm in the church, definitely know that, because it's one of those, oh god, I got to fight these things in the flipping church. And the final enemy.
Oh, we're already at the end of the round.
Yeah, these were.
Now I know where you find these. You'll find these in the Northern Crater. Are they a gargoyle?
They are
Ironite.
So we'll check that, because I've got them written down as well in maze. So we'll
right,
check.
okay.
We'll check the two ones that we've had there, because I suspect that they will be. We've got 2 contested things there. You've got a point up for grabs potentially. We'll look at it in a minute when we get to the end of the quiz, if that's all right. Next is the trivia round.
Trivia round. Wonderful. Okay.
So this is really straightforward. It's just a case of a question. You either know it or you don't. But feel free to add in any tidbits you might know around that.
Trivia, you might say.
Yes, I was making that pun to myself when I was doing this, and I've literally just noticed. I don't know whether this is because there's a little bit of materia.
Yes, that has always been in the logo. It's one of those hidden in plain sight type things, like the logo for Final Fantasy 13, which does not make sense until you've completed it.
Wow, that's interesting, because I've literally just noticed that now. I think it's a lot to do with the fact that, like, making thumbnails with this title, you probably have a PNG that cuts it out potentially. That's probably what it is. It's one of those things that I'm never going to miss it now, am I? Anyway, that's learn something new every day. So the first question in the trivia round is, talking of materia, what color materia does Sephiroth need to summon Meteor?
Right, so this is going to be the black materia, which I always thought looked purple in the FMV, actually.
Purpley.
Maybe
It's
that's
like,
just me.
it does. It's a bit like again, you might know better than me, but it's a bit like the dark matter that appears in a few places in Final Fantasy.
Yes.
You know, because obviously they went for the materia theme of that materia was all from the same source, so potentially they were using the design stuff there. But it does look a bit purpley, doesn't it? I know there's like the black and white thing because is it the white materia is the holy materia, and it's like
That's correct. Yes.
like the kind of yin and yang thing going on, evil, good versus evil type thing. Yes, so that's correct. I fully expected you to get that one. So next we have right during the trip to Wall Market.
Oh boy.
What is the best dress to get for Cloud
Oh.
in the original game?
Oh. Now this is one of those things that I'm pretty sure I could pick the right answers just by muscle memory, but trying to remember what the actual cloth is.
Which one down is it? Yeah.
Oh. Now I think it's something silky and something that shimmers. Is that correct?
Okay, so it's a silk dress. I'm going to give you that.
Dress.
You got it. That's fair. I mean, to be fair, in the translation, it might be called something silky, but you got the idea.
I was thinking of the options that you pick when you're talking to the dressmaker.
You're absolutely right. So, interestingly, you just said there about doing from muscle memory. I nearly put in. I didn't. I nearly put in the what's it called? The safe puzzle. How many rights and lefts? And I thought that's not kind. Because you'd have to get a controller out and then do it
Oh god, that used to be my password for a lot of things. Actually, it was one of those things that I knew no one would ever understand. It was like, right, I can just do this. Wonderful, we'll get on with our day.
Thing is, what's the worst part about that flipping thing is how long you've got to type it in.
Yes,
it's like under the wire stuff.
And if you miss it once, that's it. It's over. You just have to give up and try again the next time.
A flipping nightmare. But and then the thing you fight afterwards isn't exactly a cakewalk, is it? You know.
No, it's not. Especially not at that point in the game.
No, it's the Materia Keeper. All right, Master.
I think it's called Lost Number.
Oh, that's the Lost Numbers there. The Materia Keeper is
in Mount Nebel.
That's right. I get confused with names. That's why I've written a quiz so I can remember them all. Next question. Where on the world map can you first run into Yuffie in the original game? Now,
I only recently learned that you could technically pick her up earlier than the place I usually pick her up from. I know it has to be a forested area. It's a random battle location in a forested area. I've always previously waited until just outside of Fort Condor, but I'm pretty sure you can pick her up slightly earlier than that.
So the answer is that your final answer?
It's gonna have to be, yeah.
So yeah, between Junon and Fort Condor. So pretty much as you get out of
the Mithril Mines.
The Mithril Mines, yeah. I think it's pretty much when the game's programmed to allow. I don't know. Are there any forests on the world map before that?
I'm trying to think.
There might not be. That might be.
I'm not
why.
sure that there are, which is why I've always just assumed it was the Fort Condor area.
And, that makes sense.
I could have sworn that I'd read something recently that said you can technically pick her up earlier, and I went, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
You may be able to because I'm just thinking about it. Perhaps maybe they've been really clever and they've gone, you know what? Because Midgar's destroyed the planet, there's no trees around it. Maybe I don't know. Well, that's something to look into, though, isn't it?
I'll have to see if I can find that again.
Right. Next, we've got question 4. How many knights appear during the Knights of the Round summon?
Now, I think I only know this because I play Final Fantasy XIV. I believe there are 12 knights.
There's 13.
Oh, I forgot King Arthur, didn't I?
Yeah. Yep. Almost. I've put that in as a cruel question. I thought I've got to put in a few hard ones. I suspected you get the other ones, but almost.
Now, do you remember where you get the Knights of the Round Materia?
The Knights of the Round Materia isn't on the island once you got the gold chocobo on the island in the top left-hand corner or bottom right corner of the map or something?
I think it's the top right-hand, but yeah. It's one of those ones that you will never find on just a normal straight through.
So that's the thing with a lot of these things is like, how on earth did people do that without a guide back in the day?
Right.
Which is probably one of the reasons why, talking about Final Fantasy IX again, why a lot of the secrets became much later on, because they had a notoriously terrible guidebook they released of the
Mm,
game, which was it Play Online was the website they were pushing.
that's it. Yep. Play
And like
online.
if you ever bought that guide, it just says, "Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to know the rest of this, go and Play Online and type this code in." And it was like, "All right, fine." 2001 like broadband stuff, but it clearly like I bought a book. I don't want to have a password to go online. What are you talking about? But yeah. So yeah, I think it was a lot of these things are designed so you buy a guide sometimes. I don't know. Who knows? Cryptic is all, and I suppose the translation didn't help, did it? Like potentially, like a lot of these games, like if the translation's not particularly good. I mean, obviously there's the notorious one in the first boss, isn't it? Don't attack while its tail's up. Or
Oh
it means
God,
to say
yes.
do attack while its tail's up, or
It,
yeah, all
it,
that
it gets
jazz.
me to this day, honestly. You'd think I
Yeah.
would remember at this point.
Yep. Rage quit moment. Right. Next question is you'll know this one. Which two color chocobos do you breed to make a golden chocobo?
Now, I know for certain that one has to be a black chocobo. Absolutely, without a doubt. I'm pretty sure the second one can either be a blue or a green chocobo.
I believe. I'm doubting myself now. I think it's blue and green.
Oh no, I very specifically remember there has to be a
It's the
black
black.
chocobo in there.
I
It's
might have made a faux pas here, and that's really embarrassing. But
once again, I think I might have been the only person that ever enjoyed chocobo breeding in the original game. There was something about it that I just found very, very fun.
we'll
But
check at the end for the question. But yeah, no, I thought it was good fun. I like the racing; it was quite cool.
the
It's good
racing
fun.
is wonderful up until the point where you get Joe as your opponent, and then you're not winning.
Chocobo Joe. We'll look that up in a second because yeah, that's what it said on. Someone's clearly messed me up there. I didn't have the time to go in and check and breed my entire chocobo again. So yeah, we'll have a look at that. Question 6 is: what enemy skill does the Midgar Zolom teach you?
Oh, now there's three relatively high level elemental enemy skill
Yep,
casts. There's a water one, there's a lightning one, and there's a fire one. And I know the
correct.
Midgard one gives you the fire one, but what the hell is it called?
Ah, thought you.
Now Trine is the lightning one. I can never remember the name of the water one. Beta.
Here we go. The water one is called Aqualung,
Aqualung. I always
and
called it Bubble.
that's the one I always remember because I don't know why Aqualung because I mean I think an Aqualung in real life is actually something that helps you breathe. And presumably
Yeah,
that was
yeah, it does completely the opposite to the
yeah I
actual
think it was just
spell.
someone that translated just went oh call it Aqualung whatever. Funny enough, on translation I read something I don't know how true this is, but because clearly it was from the same website that said it was a green and blue chocobo, but no, I'm being silly. I read somewhere that there's a note in one of the version in the PAL version of Final Fantasy VII somewhere that if you've got like a full save file or something that left a note saying make sure change this or something like that.
Oh wow,
I
I've
think from what
never
I've
heard
heard,
that before.
yeah, it's something like if you've got a full memory card or something like that. In the American version, it says it's written out of all the syntax is all over the place and it makes no sense. And then in the European version, apparently it says the same thing, but change this. It's like a note someone's made to their team or
Wow.
something. I've read that somewhere. I'd love to investigate and see if it's true. Someone in the comments needs to let me know if it's true or not.
Please, I'd love to know if
Yeah.
that's true or not as well.
Okay. Next, we got that one. We're on question 6. We got that quite well. Question 7. Sephiroth's black wing did not appear on his human form in the original Final Fantasy VII. Where did it make its first appearance? Now, take your time with this one because I know what your first thought might be because I know what mine was.
Ooh. I have to remember when some stuff came out now, and that's going to be just as difficult. Now it's very interesting that you bring up the color of the wing because no one ever remembers that it was originally white. So I'm
In
going
the
to give
final
you a
boss
point.
battle. Yeah,
Yes.
give me a point. Here we go.
Now the obvious answer here, which I don't think is the correct answer, is Advent Children. I know that's when it became the most popular, but I think it first appeared in Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
Oh, and that was a fight that was terrible in its own right as well.
One of those other ones that takes 8 million years to do. I mean,
Yes.
to be fair, I've never actually played that game at all,
The
but
original
I've
Kingdom Hearts.
never
Oh,
played
it's a
it.
classic at this
Again,
point.
like a strange thing to have not done because I'm a big Disney nerd and a big Final Fantasy nerd. And when it
What are you
came out,
waiting for?
when it came out, I was like, I've got to play that. And like with a lot of these things, something else comes up to distract me. Don't know what it was then. Was it 2002, 2003 that came out? Something like that?
I want to say two.
2002. So I think it was probably because, right, I know why it was. It was because I got a GameCube and not a PS2. I got a PS2 later. So because I got the PS2 in 2004, I think the series passed me by because then it was, yeah, there was this weird. I think it's just one of those ones where I just missed it. But weirdly, it's like everything that I like in a game. It's got anime-esque stuff, a bonkers storyline, Final Fantasy characters, and Disney. I mean, why I haven't played it yet? I'm just
Absolutely.
I think probably because it's really difficult
it.
to get into because it's like, well, if you want to play this one first with that one and then this one,
yeah, I think
all
of the different games appearing on every system that's ever existed definitely it turned me off towards the well, not the end of the lifetime of it, but after a certain point, I just couldn't justify it anymore.
By this one, it's just cutscenes from this game. Like, what? Yes, all good fun. Right, okay, you've got that one. Right, that is fantastic. Right, here we go. Question 8. Final Fantasy VII became platinum on PS1, and for anyone watching in America, that's like a value essential series in 1998. But what additional disc came with it along with the game's 3 discs?
Now that's a very interesting question. I unfortunately don't know what happened to it. I only ever owned the black version of FF7. I never owned the platinums.
So that means you probably played 7 first.
I did, yes.
Right. So you're talking to someone that played 7 later, so that's probably why I know.
Right. Okay. Now, 98 makes me want to say that it was FF8's demo disc because I know there was a secret demo. Is
that your final answer?
Yes, that's going to be my final answer.
It is Final Fantasy VIII demo. Right. I mean, I'm now an authority on this subject, by the way, because I have got every version of Final Fantasy VIII's demo.
Oh my god! And how many is that?
Barring one, because it's in the post, because it's from America. There's so the Final Fantasy VIII demo that appears on the 4th disc, the platinum version of Final Fantasy VII, it's unique because it has the ballroom cutscene with the grayscale full scene with the Waltz for the Moon playing. I think I get to speak too much about Final Fantasy VIII in this video. Wow, it's my favorite one. And it also has the what I want to call the trailer for the game, which is very similar to the original opening, but it has a few cuts from the different points in the game along it.
I do seem to remember hearing that the demo for the escape from Dollet Beach had Rinoa in it when she's not present there in the final cut.
So one of them does.
One of them. Wow.
Yes. Let's get a little tangent going to this. There's I've been writing this recently. So yeah, basically you've got the demo that came with Final Fantasy VII's Platinum, which is that scene, the ballroom scene, which is the only place it exists as far as I know. Potentially it was played somewhere else, but that's the only place I know you can physically get it, along with the trailer, which is very similar to the opening scene, with a slightly different mix on the audio, slightly different sound effects on the swords, and little parts of the different cutscenes spliced through, including the missiles hitting Balam Garden scene, slightly different. There is another demo which exists on one of the PlayStation demos, which is just the opening cutscene. There's also a random trailer of the Dollet cutscenes, which includes what you're describing there with Rinoa in it, that appears on an American disc, which I have on my shelf, and which just came in the post, which came with Parasite Eve, which is a Squaresoft game. There's another demo which came with Brave Fencer Musashi, which is an American and a Japanese game we didn't get, which had the Dollet demo, the Dollet mission, but with Rinoa and the rest of the gang in their normal clothing. So that's the one that has Rinoa in it. And then we got in Europe in a special edition of the Final Fantasy VIII, the official PlayStation magazine, Final Fantasy VIII, which if anyone's got, I want more than anything in the world because it's really hard to get hold of. The disc that came with it is just a pretty much carbon copy of the Dollet mission with a couple of little differences. But in order to know
Wow.
what they are, you'll have to watch my video when it comes out because they're very, very specific. But so there are 2 versions of the demo, but there are 4 or 5 different cutscenes which refer to different versions of the demo.
Wow, I had absolutely no idea.
Yes, and no one, as far as I know, has actually covered them all in one place because, of course, they are. Some of them are. Unless you're mad like me and you're going to go into eBay and then track down all these European and American exclusive demos. But I know that the guys over at Final Fantasy Union, who obviously you're familiar with, they've got a what's it called, like a newsletter.
Mhm.
It's called. Is it called? Is it the Walk?
Oof.
Page, something like that on Substack.
I could not tell you.
They recently had a bit of coverage on the Final Fantasy VIII demo, the American one anyway, which is really good, which is worth reading. So I'm just plugging
I'll have
those
to
guys.
check that out. Yeah.
Yes, the Walk Digest, I believe it's called. It's in there, so that's worth looking at. But yeah, no, eventually I will get to writing my masterpiece, which is talking about in ridiculous detail all the levels of Final Fantasy VIII demo. So yes, you got that one. Well done. I added a lot of trivia in there. So. Next, right, question 9. Who is Final Fantasy VII's director?
Ooh, now the directors and the producers I always get mixed up. So it's not going to be Sakaguchi, who was the producer. The director, was that Yoshinori Kitase?
Yep.
Oof. I had the good fortune of meeting him once upon a time.
Really?
Yes, it was the Final Fantasy XIII launch up in central London.
Oh, right.
I was one of quite a few people who turned up, but they had Kitase, and unfortunately, I don't remember who the other member of the development staff was there, but they had 2 people that worked on the game, and I now own a copy of Final Fantasy XIII soundtrack signed by Kitase and this other staff member.
That's really, really cool. And it is a good soundtrack. I know that the game is divisive.
Wonderful.
But it is brilliant, the soundtrack. There's, I think, one of the things with Final Fantasy games, isn't it? Like, no one can ever...
No one ever agrees on absolutely everything, but somehow all the individual elements all coalesce together, and the soundtrack is the glue that binds them.
Obviously, you've probably picked up on my Final Fantasy VIII obsession, but most people that slag that game off, even though I think it's unfair to slag that game off, I could go into multiple reasons as to why it is unfair. Most people caveat it with, but the soundtrack's amazing. And even people that don't like the game would probably say it's obviously subjective on whether it's the best one or not, but a lot of people have it as their favorite soundtrack and it's their least favorite game because it is an absolute banger. But I'd say so anyway. But anyway, yeah, of course, talk of number 8. Right, and the final question. So, what was the in-battle special ability first seen in Final Fantasy VII? So I put in-battle specifically because, of course, Materia was first introduced in Final Fantasy VII, but talking about in-battle special ability.
Now, by special ability, do you mean things like I'm guessing you don't mean things like magic or items being used?
No. It's nothing that specific. It's a command, basically.
Right. Okay.
Essence.
The battle special ability. I believe in that case, it's going to be a limit break.
Yeah, you got it. It is the limit
Previously,
break.
It was only known as a desperation attack.
It was desperation of moves in Final Fantasy VI, yeah. So,
and that was the first place that had ever appeared.
Yeah, it was desperation.
From 7, they became a staple after that.
Did become a staple. I think limit breaks. I think like they're called limits, aren't they? I think in 7, like, and then limit breaks in 8. I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Now, my question for you is, which limit break was your favorite?
In 7 or 8?
Well, either.
7, I like Tifa's limit break. I like how you can chain all of them together. It's a very all or nothing limit break because at the beginning it's a bit rubbish. And of course, the OP one is obviously Cloud Braver at the beginning.
The amount of misses that you can get rolling those slots as well.
Yeah, exactly. But later on, when you've got like 8 or 9 of them chained, like the chances are of you hitting them all is pretty, really good. So I'd say that overall is my favorite limit break in 7, at least is Vincent's limit break because it just makes no sense to me. And then in 8, I just think Renzo Kuken's to die for. The Lionheart and Renzo Kuken. Like I still remember when I first saw that as a kid, and again it was one of those things we just talked about before about like things like not from guides and when I discovered a couple of years after I first got the game you could do this Lionheart ability, because the guidebook just calls it Lionheart, doesn't explain what it is, and watched it happen. I was just like, absolutely, my mind. I rushed into school the next day to tell my friend, "Look, guess what you can do." And so that's my favorite limit break out of all of them. Is definitely the Lionheart in 8, but I think in 7 it's anything Tifa does, because I think it's great, all the things that are chained together. How about
That's a
you?
good choice. I think as far as 7 goes, it's gonna have to be Aerith's Fury brand. Precisely because it fills the limit bars of all the other characters in your party. So if you want to be able to deliver the smackdown, say 4 times in 2 turns, then you're more than able to do that. There's
I've
nothing
never.
like a, there's nothing like a bit of overpower as far as I'm concerned.
That is cool. I've never actually had that one before, because I never really did the whole learn get Aerith
Mhm.
stuff up to, like, because obviously you've got to do it early on. Spoiler alert. But for some reason, like most people will know, I'm sure watching this video, if you yes. So no, I'll probably do that at some point. That does sound pretty.
It's one of those ones that definitely feels at some point like it should be saved for later, but obviously there's only so long
Yeah.
you have to be able to really use it. Mind
Another
you,
good.
if you can get Omni Slash on disc 1, then I think you should absolutely go for
Yeah,
it.
I did that. That just proves how sad I am. I think. I love like random obscure challenges. Like I quite enjoy challenge runs of like games and stuff like that. I don't know if
Mm.
you're into that kind of thing. And I just watched
I
something recently where a guy I check what the guy's name is, because I'm terrible with names. Why I write quizzes, because I'm terrible with names. It's the only reason, just so I can remember stuff. It is a YouTuber called and Twitch streamer called. For some reason, all of my lists not showing up. I was watching it earlier. Do, 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 do. Oh dear, goodness me! It's relevant to what I was saying. Is it at the bottom of my list, or is it Punchy? There's a YouTuber called Punchy and Twitch streamer called Punchy, who did a. I don't know how into Resident Evil games you are.
I do like Resident Evil,
Right.
yes.
So he basically did he's a speedrunner, and he did a speed run of Resident Evil 2 without taking a step. Now, what that means is, so you actually do take a step technically, but you do it with
It's with the knife, isn't it?
no. You sort of like
No?
you basically aim with your gun, and then it
Oh.
moves you slowly forward. And he's like, I won't spoil whether it can be done or not, but he goes through the entire Ace storyline as Leon. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's the sort of thing that I'd love. I love that sort of thing. So like
That
something like, can you do Omni Slash on disc 1? Can you get the Lionheart on disc 1? That sort of stuff is right up my alley.
that sounds absolutely insane. You'll have to send me the
I will
video for
definitely
that
send
one.
you the link to that, and it will be linked in the description as well, because I want. I mean, it's a popular video. He's got a few, I think 50 or 60,000 subscribers on YouTube, so he's a relatively well established YouTuber. But no, it's well worth looking at if you're into nerdy stuff. So which is I definitely am. So that's the end of the quiz. So just after doing a little bit of research, we've realized that in order to get a gold chocobo, you need to breed a black and wonderful blue or green chocobo, I believe, from what I've found. So that's what you said. So you get the point for that. So well done. So tally everything else up. In the first round, you got 17.5 out of 20.
And a half. I'm carrying that half with me till my
That was
grave.
fair enough, because it was one of the Cosmo Canyon things. In the second round, you got 6.5 out of 10. And in the final round, you got 9 out of 10.
Wonderful.
Looks like, is it 9 out of 10? No, yeah, it was 9 out of 10. You got 9 out of 10, I believe. That's right. If anyone's counted them differently than me, because I've got a nice little spreadsheet here. So that means that you've got. So in the first round, you got 17.5. Second round, you got 6.5. And the final round, you got 9. Add them together, you get 33, which means, according to tally I had at the beginning, you are. Go through all the pictures of these. You are Planet Savior.
Wonderful. It's what I've always
You're just in there.
aspired for.
So you did really well. How did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the little quiz?
That was actually a lot harder than I was expecting it to be. I didn't realize that you were going to be asking me about enemy types. I thought I thought I had this on lockdown. Characters I can do without a problem, and then you busted out, you busted out the enemies, and it's like, right, okay, it's going downhill from here.
Well, I thought it was a bit. I thought I'd because when we first chatted, I thought you're clearly a massive fan. I thought, you know what, I'll try and balance it up a bit. I'll try and so in terms of difficulty, do you think it was pretty good then? Do you think it was fair?
I think it was actually a really good difficulty. Yeah. Definitely one of those things where if you don't know, it'll be obvious if you don't know what you're talking about. But no, a good mixture of relatively easy questions and really in-depth trivia questions as well.
I think we were pretty equal on the nerdiness front, adding bits in, which is nice to talk about. So,
oh, absolutely.
Right. So yeah, thanks for joining.
Of course, thank you for hosting.
And if anyone wants to see more of these, please watch, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you.